Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Bronco Sports Weekly. We're here in the Western Michigan Gymnastics practice facility where we will be speaking with Taylor Zondervan later. But for right now, let's take a look at what happened this past week in Western Michigan sports. Number 7 hockey was not able to maintain the momentum from its sweep of the third-ranked Notre Dame hockey team, falling at number 20 Miami 3-1 on Friday night and 4-0 on Saturday night to suffer the series sweep. Luke Witkowski scored his first goal of the season at the 8:34 mark of the first period on Friday night, and that would be the lone offensive production for the Broncos. Western Michigan is now tied with Miami for second place in the CCHA standings, at 1 point behind Ohio State and 1 point clear of Michigan. The top 8 spots are separated by just 6 points. Men's basketball had a bittersweet week last week, falling on the road 62-59 in overtime at Eastern Michigan, before hanging on to defeat Central Michigan 64-61 at University Arena on Saturday. The Broncos held a 9-point lead with 4 minutes gone in the second half at Eastern Michigan, but needed a Nate Hutchinson three-pointer at the buzzer to force overtime. The junior led all scorers with 21 points last Wednesday. It was CMU that needed a three-pointer at the buzzer to force overtime on Saturday, but the Bronco defense held strong to preserve its third MAC win of the season. 4 Broncos scored in double figures, again led by Hutchison with 17 points. Men's tennis continued its schedule against the Big Ten, falling 7-0 to the 29th ranked Indiana Hoosiers on Sunday. The women's team split last weekend's action, falling to number 10 Michigan 7-0, one day after defeating Detroit by the same margin. Nini Sushvili, Jill Pasternak, and Miloslav Shustova all won in straight sets against the Titans. Track and field wrapped up competition at the Notre Dame Invitational on Saturday with Iris Campbell's win in the 400-meter dash, capping off the day for the Broncos. The junior from Emmett, Michigan dusted the competition with a time of 55.14 seconds, a full 1.78 seconds faster than Notre Dame's Natalie Geiger. Sophomore Ciara Allen was right behind her in 4th place with a time of 8.99 seconds. Gymnastics improved to 3-0 on the season and 2-0 in the Mid-American Conference, downing NIU on the road 194.575 to 193.350. The Broncos' overall score is the highest in the MAC this season and ranks 6th in school history. Western Michigan's total also ranks tops in the state, besting totals from Big Ten counterparts Michigan State and Michigan. Junior Carolyn O'Brien was responsible for 2 event wins, scoring a 9.8 on the uneven bars and tying for first on the balance beam with a 9.7. Our guest, Taylor Zondervan, who was the Gymnast of the Week, also had a great event, and we'll talk to her later about the season so far. Despite outscoring Miami in the second half, women's basketball fell at Millett Hall 82-67. Julia Henson, Maria Iquinella, and Corey Buchanan all finished in double figures, led by Henson's 18 points on 6 of 11 shooting. She shot 60% from beyond the arc. Now let's take a look at some highlights from this past week. To University Arena we go. Western Michigan women's basketball taking on Northern Illinois. A.J. Johnson finds Maria Iquinella. Later, Iquinella returns the favor to Johnson as she drives baseline and scores. Ariel Anderson to Corey Buchanan with the give back to Anderson for a layup. Western Michigan, Corey Buchanan to Julia Henson hitting 3 against the Huskies. Western Michigan would fall to the Huskies 53-41 in front of the home crowd. This past Friday, the Detroit Tigers Winter Caravan came to Kalamazoo, and hundreds of fans, including Buster Bronco, were on hand to welcome the Detroit Tigers, including Rick Porcello, as the Western Michigan baseball team was also on hand, including Dr. Dunn, for the event. Men's basketball tipping off against Central Michigan at University Arena. Mikey Douglas with the layup and the foul for 2 of his 6 points on the day. Matt Stainbrook finds Nate Hutchison, 1 of 4 assists for the big man. Nate Hutchison led all scorers for Western Michigan with 17. Here, Shane Winnington with the big one-handed dunk. And as Central Michigan's offense tried to get going, Flanard Whitfield with the block. Broncos held Central Michigan to 34% shooting in the game as the Broncos defeat Central 64-61 in the final game before the East division swing. We're here with senior gymnast Taylor Zondervan for Bronco Sports Weekly. And Taylor, number one, thank you for joining us, and congratulations on the great start of the season for the Broncos. Let's talk about your career a little bit. You started out at Oklahoma, then to Michigan, and now here at Western Michigan. Gymnastics is such a rhythmic sport. How did that affect the rhythm of your career, not being able to compete last year and now coming into this year?
Well, just going to Oklahoma and then having to transfer to Michigan and then deciding Michigan wasn't the right choice for me too, and then coming here, it was a big bump in my gymnastics career. I mean, I didn't really compete that much at Michigan. I never even got my rhythm back there, and I was there for 3 years. So, and then my last year I decided to come here to Western, and it was probably the best choice I could have made. I came home and I knew Dave from, he recruited me before. And then finding out I couldn't compete was another bump in the road last year. But what really helped me get my stride back and get that rhythm back was just training all last year, because I could still train with the team, I could still be at all the practices, and I traveled to a lot of, and I watched their meets and traveled to some of the meets as well. So just being able to train all last year really helped me get that rhythm back and brought me back to where I wanted to be able to compete this year and do well for the team.
Gymnastics, much like tennis, much like track, you're competing for a team score, but you're out there by yourself. What is going through your mind the moment before you start a routine, during a routine, and then as soon as the routine's over?
Before the routine, I'm just mentally going through my routine, going through keywords, going through what I do in practice every day. I do a lot of mental imagery before I go up there. So that's what I do before. During the routine, I have cue words. So like, for example, on beam, I think aggressive before I go for one of my skills. Or I always have a cue word for each skill I do, and I say those during the routine. After the routine, it's just, as long as I hit it really good, it's just excitement. Nothing's really going through my head. It's just I'm happy that I hit it for the team and myself. So.
Now, obviously, this is a scored sport. Before the judges' scores come up, how do you know, when's that moment when you're like, I nailed that?
Right at the landing normally. If you stick your landing, it's like, all right, I just hit that routine. And your teammates, I mean, teammates in the crowd screaming for you, being exciting for you, the coach telling you that was a good routine, that's just when you know. It's just, and you get that feeling too. You get that feeling of excitement and that feeling of, wow, I just hit that set. So.
Now, you just finished practice here. We're here in the Western Michigan Gymnastics practice facility. What is your practice routine like? Are you just working on what you need to work on, or are the teammates kind of helping out with other things? How's that go?
Well, we all kind of have our own thing we do. Some of us don't do all 4 events. Some of us just do a couple events. I personally do all 4 events. So, like today, we started out on vault, and everyone who does vault started on vault together, and then we just kind of go around and do your own assignment. It's not really, I mean, you practice with your team, and you're there for your team, and you help out for your team, but it's mainly you just go and you get your stuff done to the best ability and the quality you can do. So.
For novice fans of gymnastics, what would you say is the most difficult event to prepare for in gymnastics?
It depends on the gymnast, I'm not gonna lie. But to prepare for it, I'd say mentally is beam, for sure. You have to, I mean, you're up on a 4 feet tall, 4-inch wide beam. You just have to be mentally prepared and know you're gonna hit it before you go. But really, it depends on the gymnast. Like for me, vault is probably the hardest event for me to do. So it just depends on the person and what events work best for you, I guess.
Flip that, what's the funnest event for people that may not know the sport?
Probably floor. I would think floor is the funnest for me, and I know a lot of my friends like watching floor the best because you get to perform and show off your personality, and then there's big tumbling and big flips and stuff that you get to see as well, so that's probably the funnest.
And Western Michigan's 3-0, 2-0 in the MAC, with a big win over Kent State and NIU. Central Michigan won it last year. What are the steps that we need to take to continue to climb towards a MAC title, and where are those strides being seen by yourself as a member of the team and coach?
We just need to keep going where we're heading. We're on a really good path right now. We keep improving every week, and we're gaining confidence. Beating Kent State 2 weeks ago was a big step for us, knowing that we are up there, because Kent State went to nationals last year, so they're the first team in the MAC to ever make it to nationals. So that was exciting for us to go out there and know that we could compete with them. steps to get to MAC would probably just be, like I said, keep working hard and staying in our own focus and not letting other teams' success and other teams' problems get into our own focus, and just stay as a team and, you know, beat our team every week, not necessarily beat Central or every other team. It's just beat your own self every week to get yourself better.
All right, well, thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
And you'll have your chance to check out Western Michigan Gymnastics this Sunday, 1 p.m. against Bowling Green, University Arena, for Military Appreciation Day. So for Taylor, I'm Matt Kanan. Thank you for watching Bronco Sports Weekly.
Now let's take a moment to look at the top 5 things you'll be watching this week in Bronco sports. Number 5, hockey has a home-and-home series against Bowling Green this weekend, with the Broncos hosting the Falcons Saturday night at Lawson Ice Arena at 7:05 p.m. Number 4, men's basketball has a long trip to Athens, Ohio to take on the Bobcats Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Women's hoops host Kent State on Faculty Staff Appreciation Night Wednesday at University Arena at 7 p.m. And it's a doubleheader Saturday at University Arena when the men take on Miami at 4 p.m. and the women host Ohio to start things off at 2 p.m. Number 3, women's tennis travels to Eastern Illinois on Friday, while the men's team hosts a doubleheader with IPFW and Green Bay. Track is also in action, traveling to the Indiana Relays on Friday as well. Number 2, Western Michigan Athletics will host its garage sale on Saturday at University Arena, with doors opening at 1 p.m. Garage sale will be open to the public until halftime of the men's game against Miami. And the number 1 thing to look for this week, gymnastics ends the week and will look to remain undefeated when the Broncos host Bowling Green at University Arena on Sunday for Military Appreciation Day at 1 p.m. Well, this wraps up this edition of Bronco Sports Weekly. We'll see you next week, same Bronco time, same Bronco place. Thanks for watching.
I'm Maggie Armenzi, a junior on the Western Michigan women's tennis team and a biology major. Having the connection of Western Michigan tennis with my aunts is really cool because they could tell me what it was like for them when they were here. I got to know firsthand what they experienced, and when I came I could see them play, and now they can see me play, and I have my own personal cheer squad at all my matches. I'm a Bronco and I am the power of gold.